At dusk, Keshav came with his party. Keshav bowed low before the master, touching the ground with his forehead. The master returned his salutation in the same manner. Shortly afterwards, Sri Ramakrishna said, in a state of partial consciousness, "Look, he has brought the whole Kolkata crowd. I am supposed to deliver a lecture. I won't do anything of the sort. Do it yourself if you like. Lecturing is none of my business." Still in the ecstatic mood, he said with a divine smile, "I shall eat, drink and be merry. I shall play and sleep. But I can't give lectures." As Keshav Babu watched him, he became overpowered with divine emotion. Every now and then he said, "Ah me, ah me." I too watched the master and said to myself, "Can this be pretense?" I had never seen anything like it before. And you know how deep my faith is. Coming back from Samadhi, the master said to Keshav, "Keshav, once I went to your temple. In the course of your preaching, I heard you say, 'We shall dive into the river of devotion and go straight to the ocean of Satchidananda.' At once I looked up at the gallery where Keshav's wife and the other ladies were sitting and thought, then what will become of these ladies? You see, Keshav, you are householders. How can you reach the ocean of Satchidananda all at once? You are like a mongoose with a brick tied to its tail. When something frightens it, it runs up the wall and sits in a niche. But how can it stay there any length of time? The brick pulls it down, and it falls to the floor with a thud. You may practice a little meditation, but the weight of wife and children will pull you down. You may dive into the river of devotion, but you must come up again. You will alternately dive and come up. How can you dive and disappear once for all?" Keshav Babu said, "Can't a householder ever succeed? What about Maharshi Debendranath Tagore? Twice or thrice the master repeated softly, "Debendranath Tagore, Debendro, Debendro," and bowed to him several times. Then he said, "Let me tell you a story. A man used to celebrate the Durga Puja at his house with great pomp. Goats were sacrificed from sunrise to sunset. But after a few years, the sacrifice was not so imposing. Then someone said to him, "How is it, sir, that the sacrifice at your place has become such a tame affair?" "Don't you see?" he said. "My teeth are gone now." Debendra is now devoted to meditation and contemplation. It is only natural that he should be at his advanced stage. But no doubt he is a great man. You see, as long as a man is under Maya's spell, he is like a green coconut. When you scoop out the soft kernel from a green coconut, you cannot help scraping a little of the shell at the same time. But in the case of a ripe and dry coconut, the shell and kernel are separated from each other. When you shake the fruit, you can feel the kernel rattling inside. The man who is freed from Maya is like a ripe and dry coconut. He feels the soul to be separated from the body. They are no longer connected with each other. It is the I that creates all the trouble. Won't this wretched ego ever leave a person? You see a peepal tree growing from the rubbish of a tumble-down house. You cut it down today, but tomorrow you will find a new sprout shooting up. It is the same with the ego. You may wash 7 times a cup that onions have been kept in, but the wretched smell never leaves it. In the course of the conversation, he said to Keshav, "Well, Keshav, I understand that your Kolkata Babus say that God does not exist. Is that true?" A Kolkata Babu wants to climb the stairs. He takes one step, but before taking the next, he cries out, "Oh, my side, my side," and drops down unconscious. His relatives raise a hue and cry and send for a doctor. But before the doctor arrives, the man is very likely dead. And people of such stamina say, "There is no God." After an hour or so, the kirtan began. What I saw then, I shall never forget either in this life or in the lives to come. Everybody danced, Keshav included. The master was in the center. All danced around him in a circle. During the dancing, Sri Ramakrishna suddenly stood motionless, transfixed in samadhi. A long time passed this way. After hearing his words and seeing all this, I said to myself, "Yes, A Paramhamsa indeed.